What's up, A to Z Sports live here on a Thursday. Always having a great show each and every weekday talking Titans. The Titans have a new asset, maybe on the offensive line that we'll talk about. What does this mean? The new free agent signing the Titans made after the offseason program has ended. As we wait for training camp, the Titans did make a signing on Wednesday afternoon official. So we'll talk about that. What does it mean? And then there are some injury concerns that we have across this roster. So we'll go through and give some updates on how concerned are we? Who are we concerned most about? With some, there's three guys on the graphic right there. L'Jarius Sneed, 38, Tavondre Sweat, 93, and Nicholas Petit-Frere at 78. There's another guy that we will discuss in the injury concerns. All notable players and big-time potential contributors to this football team. All could be starters that we're talking about, some injury concerns. So we'll do that. Then we've got a little magic bucket action here to wrap up our Thursday show like we always do. Jack, welcome in. We're going to have a solid conversation here talking about Bill Callahan's new asset that he has helped sign this Titans team. So good morning. Glad to see everybody in here. What's up to Danny? What's up, Bobby? Titans Kyle, Willie, Lou Man, Katie, and more. So what's up, everybody? Good morning, New Mexico Titan. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, absolutely. Titan Antonio starts us off. He's got a good goal for us. Let's get to 250 likes on the show. If we get to 250 likes on an off-season show, I'll be very happy. So whether you're watching now, whether you're watching a little bit later in the day, like the show while you roll in. We've got over 100 of you guys in here right now. I'm seeing 13 likes on my screen. We can do a whole heck of a lot better than that. So let's get those like numbers up. Let's see those start rolling in, liking the show, sharing the show. All that helps grow the show, which is great for A to Z Sports. So if you're watching on Facebook, I encourage you all to share the show to your Titans Facebook groups. We want to bring everybody in here, as many people in here as we can to help grow the show. Sharing is caring. You hear Zach Bingham say that all the time. So share the show if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, tap that bell icon at the top of your screen and turn your notifications on. You don't want to miss an update anytime A to Z Sports goes live or post any content to their YouTube channel. Look, it's going to be a busy offseason. It already has been a busy offseason for the Titans. There's still more moves to be made. There's still more news to come. So don't miss out on any of it by tapping your bell icon at the top of your YouTube screen and making sure your notifications are turned on. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link around. If you're at the office, you see your buddy over there half asleep in his cubicle, send him the show. We'll wake him up. We'll talk a little Titans football. If you're at home getting ready for work, you throw on the TV. Nobody's talking Titans on the national scale. We're doing all that here. So text it to your Twitch buddies, text it to your text buddies, I should say. And Austin, with all that said, and once everybody starts liking the show, let's get the show on the road.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry, the Titan Up Podcast, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network here live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A to Z Sports. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they truly make it happen for us, and they help all of you guys. Like Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or keep them on, get them online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans and go check them out. Get a quote today by using our link to save money on your health plan. Our link is fbhp.com/ATOZ. So Jack, Titan Antonio, big goal of 250 likes on the show. Now he's watching on YouTube. So let's just say, let's do 250 combined likes on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So we can talk about that being a combined effort right there, because we need to step up the like game as this offseason gets deeper. But Jack, we're talking about a Titans new edition here on this Thursday. The offseason program has ended officially as the Titans yesterday, Brian Callahan said on Wednesday they would do no OTA practice, but they'd have some type of team building activity on the, quote, last day of school said Brian Callahan. We don't know any updates on what that team building activity might have been. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to the Titans social media to see if they give any leaks on what that team building activity might have been. But they go through all of OTAs, they go through the mandatory minicamp, and then they go make a signing on the offensive line. I see Clayton saying RIP Sam. Sam is not dead because Sam had a tweet right here yesterday. The Titans have signed offensive tackle Jerron Christian. Christian is 27 years old, started 9 games for the Cleveland Browns in 2023, working with Bill Callahan. So Sam is not dead. He is very much alive and back at work here after a trip. So Sam back at it right there. And so he mentioned Jerron Christian, a veteran offensive lineman signed to the Titans. The 9 games he started last year, I have seen that he gave up 4 sacks with the Browns last year. He was called for 5 total penalties for the Browns last year, but he has been signed to the Tennessee Titans, and a lot of his work has been at left tackle. He does have some experience at right tackle as well. No interior line snaps taken in the NFL, but Jerron Christian is the Titans' newest offensive lineman. So, hey, look, and by the way, Antonio Summers, Titantonio on Facebook now. Let's get to 250 likes. So he's flipping,
There he is.
going back and forth, trying to help out everybody here. So, Jack, I'll just kind of ask this question to you to get this conversation started, and we'll get the chat involved here. But the Titans signing Jerron Christian, what does this mean that the Titans signed another depth offensive tackle after they go through the entirety of OTAs and mandatory minicamp?
Yeah, we'll get the chat involved here as the comments start rolling in. But Austin, I'll go ahead and give you my answer. I mean, I think it's very fascinating that the Titans picked up Jerron Christian. He's worked with Bill Callahan not only in Cleveland, but he was drafted by the Commanders when Bill Callahan was over there. So this is his 3rd stint and his 3rd different team with Bill Callahan. He comes with starting experience. Started 9 games last season with the Browns after Jedrick Willis and Jack Conklin went down at their tackle positions. Look, he's not going to come in and immediately be the starter, right? I mean, like, he's a below average tackle. You look at his PFF grades, neither number is great, and PFF grades aren't the end all be all, but I mean, this guy was graded 53.1 in pass blocking, 35.7 in run blocking. So that's not a guy that's going to give you a whole lot of confidence if he's starting out there on week 1 on the right side. If he's a depth signing, that could change things. It would be a nice little addition. You got Leroy Watson already brought in, a guy with experience in Cleveland with Bill Callahan as well. So you're starting to see Bill Callahan kind of bring in some of his guys that he's been able to mold. And I think it's interesting because John Ojukwu took a lot of the snaps at right tackle in minicamp. You still have NPF on the shelf dealing with that shoulder injury that ended his year last season. So maybe the Titans aren't as comfortable with their in-house options as they might have, thought they would have been by this point. So Rand Carthon, Bill Callahan get together and go out and bring in a guy that he's worked with before.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting about this is the left side of the offensive line feels like it could have the ability to be a strength for the Titans this upcoming season, even with J.C. Latham being a rookie. Bill Callahan said in a group of media that this is one of the most impressive first-round picks that he's been around from a mentality standpoint with J.C. Latham. He also raved about Peter Skoronski's growth and what Bill Callahan, the elder big coach, has seen from Peter Skoronski this offseason compared to watching his tape as a rookie. And then Lloyd Cushenberry looks to be as advertised there as the center. Right guard, I think I like the healthy competition at right guard with Sadiq Charles, who's not been coached by Bill Callahan, but spent time with teammates in Washington who played under Bill Callahan there with the Commanders the last few years. And then I like Dylan Radin's new approach to this, as he is a guard only at this point. And then the veteran Daniel Brunskill. I think that's a good competition right there. Now, right tackle is wide the heck open because there's no proven commodity that can play right tackle on the roster right now. You've got Jalen Duncan, the 6th-round pick from a year ago, forced into duty, didn't look good. NPF had the gambling suspension last year, came back, has the ability to play left and right, played a lot of games as a rookie at right tackle for this franchise, but then he had the shoulder injury, and we still haven't seen him yet, and we'll talk about that later on. And then you've got John Ojukwu, who's the undrafted free agent from a year ago that really impressed the staff and the team last year as an undrafted rookie, but is not necessarily ready to do anything when it comes to being a starter on the offensive line. So you've got a complete toss-up with three different options at right tackle, and so they add another one. I think it's very clear signals that they don't think they have a right tackle starter as of right now who's been able to practice. And so John Ojukwu, Jalen Duncan, who returned to practice in mandatory minicamp after missing some OTA time, I don't think they think he's a starter. Leroy Watson has been working behind J.C. Latham as a left tackle. So I think they are looking for more people that can play the offensive tackle position that Bill Callahan knows how to work. Like they traded for Leroy Watson before the draft to give up a 7th-round pick to get him from Cleveland. And now they're signing another former Brown to come in the offensive line room too. I think this is Bill Callahan's fingerprints all over this move because he had a chance to look and see what he had in the cupboard and says, we need to go out and get some more. And here's a guy that I know knows how to work. So I think this is interesting because they're not signing anybody to play left tackle. They're signing somebody to play right tackle. And that's what this means for Geron Christian right here. So I'll throw up the news. Again, Geron Christian signed by the Titans yesterday. The team did announce that. He started 9 games last year with the Cleveland Browns. I'm scrolling back to find out we had some splits on snaps that were taken with this move. 125 total career snaps at right tackle, but a lot at left tackle. 700 plus last year at left tackle. So you see Geron Christian is a primary left tackle right there, Jack. And have you seen anything from the chat that makes you take this any further here?
Yeah, we asked the chat, what does it mean that the Titans signed another depth offensive tackle after the minicamp practices concluded? Lou Man believes it's protection. Insurance from Hello Ladies. American Toth believes that it means NPF is hurt. He is hurt. He missed the entire minicamp. Concerned about NPF's rehab, says Just Smash. Not a real right tackle. They need a real right tackle. There aren't many real right tackles hanging out in free agency right now. We went over a couple of them the other day with Quessenberry and Billy Turner. Those options don't really excite anybody. Need depth at left tackle. Major Keys thinks it's a left tackle addition. Richie says depth. Callahan's boy. Let's see, because they don't have a right tackle right now, so that's why they brought him in. That's kind of what we're alluding to here. Need depth with familiarity. That's a bonus. 25 starts in the NFL. It's experience. At the very least, he's got experience. This is the other thing about Geron Christian and why Titans fans should temper their expectations here. This is his 5th team. He's entering year 7 in the NFL. So he hasn't really been able to stick anywhere. And this was a 3rd-round draft pick back in 2018. So, he's been around for a little while, but nobody's really thought that much of him to keep him around for more than a couple of years. So I don't think that this is a starting option for the Titans. But look, when you don't have any options at right tackle, when you've got guys like Jalen Duncan and John Ojukwu and NPF, who hasn't been on the field yet this offseason, duking it out for the right tackle spot, you might as well bring in more bodies. See if somebody jumps off the page, because NPF right now is not out there. And who knows what his status is moving forward, but that's a guy who needs as many reps as possible. So it would behoove the Titans to get NPF back as soon as possible. But in the meantime, they're not banking on that. So they go out and make a move for Geron Christian, a guy with experience, a guy with most of his experience on the left side, like you mentioned. But you know what? He hadn't really been great at left tackle, so might as well see if he can work on the right side. I think that's kind of the idea the Titans had.
Yeah, so you brought up 25 games started for Geron Christian, 9 last year with Cleveland. And then he had 8 with the Houston Texans started in 2021, 6 with Washington in 2020, and then started 2 games in his second year in the NFL, appearing in 16 in 2019 with Washington as well. A lot of starts on the left side. So look, I think it's interesting that that's what they had to go out and do. So now let's flip the gears and talk about some injury concerns that we have with the Titans, and we'll kind of figure out where we're at with these injury concerns. I'm going to show 4 players on the board that have not done anything of physical nature on the practice field this spring, right? We saw Tavondre Sweat at rookie minicamp for one day, have not, the media at least, has not seen him out there since. Jeffrey Simmons has been out there wearing his 98 jersey, but not when we could take a photo of him. So we had to go back to last season to take a photo of Jeffrey Simmons and of NPF for that matter. And so we haven't seen either Jeffrey Simmons or NPF take any reps on the field. L'Jarius Sneed has only been out there for a couple mandatory minicamp practices where he's been working off to the side, rehabbing his knee injury. He did take some walkthrough reps on Wednesday's minicamp practice during 11 on 11 where they had the helmetless power walkthrough, as I'm calling that period there. So want to ask this question to the chat here. Which Titans injury situation concerns you most? Tavondre Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, L'Jarius Sneed, or Nicholas Petit-Frere? Which Titans injury situation concerns you most between Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, L'Jarius Sneed, or NPF? We'll get to all of your opinions and thoughts on this, but first, Farm Bureau Health Plans can always help you out. If you need better coverage with your health plan, Farm Bureau Health Plans can do that for you and help save you money at the same time. They've been doing that for Tennesseans for over 77 years, and so much has changed with Tennessee and just the world in general over those generations and generations, and Farm Bureau Health Plans has just gotten better to become an asset for you to help out with your health coverage. Don't pay out of pocket to go to the dentist. You need to go to the dentist at least 2 times a year. It's so important for your hygiene and your health to make sure that you're going to the dentist, and Farm Bureau Health Plans can get you on that plan. Your vision, don't have to pay out of pocket for contacts or whatever else you need for your vision coverage. So make sure that you can do the best of both worlds, getting better coverage and for a lower rate. With Farm Bureau Health Plans, you can get a quote today across the state of Tennessee by going to our link to get that quote, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Head to BetMGM if you're looking to play some skin in the game, and new users if you're looking for a new sports book, or you're just looking to get in on the action ahead of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight, or the College World Series, which kicks off tomorrow afternoon. Tennessee Vols are favored to win that thing right now. Get in the game with BetMGM and use our bonus code A to Z Sports. When you plug that sucker in, you're going to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Great deal going on right now, and BetMGM is the easiest app to navigate for new users. So if you've been thinking about getting in and you're intimidated by, all of the numbers and all of the action, don't worry about that. BetMGM kind of organizes everything in a nice and neat way, makes it easy for everybody. So if you're looking to put some money on a game, BetMGM is the place to do it. And make sure when you sign up, you use our bonus code A to Z Sports.
And Jack, I will say that I logged onto my BetMGM app yesterday and saw that I had a 33% odds boost. So I used that odds boost on the Tennessee money line. So instead of a minus 190 number, I got a minus 140 number for an outright money line, which I like quite a bit. So took
Value
that for the Vols versus the Noles coming up tomorrow night on Friday. So the question is, which Titans injury situation concerns you most as of now, with Jeffrey Simmons missing and not practicing at all throughout the offseason workouts, Tavondre Sweat doing some work in rookie minicamp and then not seen by the media the rest of that time. L'Jarius Sneed has not done anything competitive more than what I'm calling the through that they're doing out there with no helmets. And then Nicholas Petit-Frere, who we have not laid eyes on at all. We've at least laid our eyes on the other 3 guys. I have not seen Nicholas Petit-Frere with my 2 eyes, and nobody in the Titans media has seen him yet as he is rehabbing an injury. I'm guessing the injury he's rehabbing is the shoulder surgery that he had mid-season last year. Brian Callahan would not confirm that that is the specific injury he is referring to or rehabbing from. So, Jack, I'll send you the chat. Which of these injury situations is most concerning? I'll also put up a poll on YouTube as well. But what's the chat saying here on this Thursday morning?
American Toff and Scott Weaver both are saying L'Jarius Sneed. New Mexico Titan, Major Keys, Caleb, Bobby, all saying NPF. Hello Ladies says it's Sweat. Don't want to sweat. Might be a bust. I think it's a little early for that.
My goodness.
Willie Madden says Jeffrey Simmons. Derek Wright says NPF. We've got Snead coming in, Sweat, Simmons because he's the anchor from Corey Fessler. I don't think that it's a question as to which player is the most important here in this group. But Jeffrey Simmons not being out there, definitely, something to keep an eye on. Steve Jones agrees. Tiffany Cockrell believes it's T'Vondre Sweat. NPF is a big concern for Darren Lee. Sweat from Deborah, Snead from Billy, Sweat from Dr. David. So we're seeing, a three-way split here. And, Simmons has quite a few answers as well from Joe coming in here. NPF. Big NPF run there, but there's still Snead. A couple Sneads from Phil and Jesse. Sweat Rockstar says everybody. The Titans can't ever have everybody healthy all at once. If you've been a Titans fan long enough, you should know that. T'Vondre Sweat, NPF, L'Jarius Snead because he's much more expensive, says Phil. Sweat, young guy, not starting off on the right foot. NPF. NPF's probably the leader in the clubhouse with Snead checking in at number 2. Sweat third, Simmons fourth, according to the chat. So my answer here is NPF, and here's why. It's kind of the process of elimination for me. Jeffrey Simmons, I'm not worried about at all. When training camp comes around, Jeffrey Simmons is going to be ready to go. When week 1 of the NFL regular season comes around, Jeffrey Simmons is going to be ready to go. I'm not worried about Jeffrey Simmons. L'Jarius Snead, same thing. He's kind of got these knee issues coming in that people had talked about. L'Jarius Snead kind of put those rumors to bed, says his knee is totally fine. I think that it's okay. I think it's better that we saw him out at minicamp. Like, at least he was out there, a couple of times.
He was out there standing on the sideline wearing his 98 jersey, no helmet, but just watching.
But at least the Titans weren't hiding him. At least he was out there and he was present. It didn't feel like the Titans were hiding him from anything. It felt like they were more kind of holding him back, taking a more cautious approach. Because L'Jarius Snead at this point in time, he's an established cornerback. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. I understand, reps in the new system under Denard Wilson is going to be important, but he can get all of those in training camp. So I think it's important to take it easy with L'Jarius Snead. He's going to be out there every snap on defense. Conspiracy theory, you've kind of chimed in on this as well. I don't know that it's an injury issue that's keeping Sweat away. I think it could be a weight thing. I think the Titans could be either, you brought up a good point, they could be, including some verbiage in his contract. Hey, you got to be at this weight or else you're going to get fined. I think they're really focused on that right now. You know what you can get out of the player T'Vondre Sweat when he's out there, but they're trying to maximize his potential as a 3-down defensive lineman by probably getting him into better shape right now. We all could be in better shape. T'Vondre Sweat, especially with the role he's hopefully going to play for the Titans, could benefit from dropping a few pounds. So I think that's my conspiracy theory on T'Vondre Sweat. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though you'd like to see your rookies out there. It's NPF for me, just because of the right tackle situation in general. You need a guy out there you can trust. NPF was taken in the early 3rd round for the Titans a few years ago. He's entering year 3. And for him to still be a major question mark is a big issue. And for him to not be out there in minicamp is an issue, in my opinion. You want him getting all of these reps under Bill Callahan. What's the point of having Bill Callahan out there coaching you if you're not out there to practice with him? So he needs all these reps. And the Titans really need him to step up at right tackle this year because the other options they've got in Ojukwu, Jalen Duncan, and now Jerron Christian are all really just shots in the dark. You're not going to want to bank on any of those dudes coming away with that job at right tackle. So, in my opinion, NPF should be the favorite at the right tackle spot, but he can't be considered the favorite until he actually takes a step out onto the practice field. So, NPF, the role he's going to have in 2024 is going to be pivotal for the Titans, and it's going to be pivotal for Will Levis's success. So, NPF is the guy I'm currently most concerned about right now because he's the only guy that we haven't seen out on the field yet. We saw T'Vondre Sweat at rookie OTAs. So I'm excited to get to see NPF whenever he shows up, but I sure hope it's sooner rather than later.
All right. So your answer is Nicholas Petit-Frere asking the question, which Titans injury concerns you most right now at this point? I did put up a poll on YouTube between Jeffrey Simmons, T'Vondre Sweat, L'Jarius Snead, and NPF. The least concerning from the chat on the poll is L'Jarius Snead at 8%. Second least is Jeffrey Simmons at 15%. So this is a race between most concerned about T'Vondre Sweat and Nicholas Petit-Frere, which I think are, compared to Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Snead, the two less proven NFL players at this point. It is neck and neck. 38% on the YouTube poll early. 5 minutes poll it's only 5 minutes old. So 38 is where Sweat and NPF are right now. So Jack, I will let's talk a little bit about Jeffrey Simmons before I get to my answer to this. With Jeffrey Simmons, I have zero concern. I am shocked, actually legitimately shocked, that people are less concerned about Snead than they are Jeffrey Simmons. Like Jeffrey Simmons has been in this building for a lot of years now, since 2019. He's got that second contract. He's proven to be a captain and a leader of this football team. And we know that he was dealing with an injury midseason and was fighting through that quite a bit as the team was floundering and not making the playoffs. So I think with Simmons, there is no concern. He's out there to get ready for training camp, no doubt about that. I also think that the defensive line is this time of year is probably the position group that can't accomplish as much on the practice field. Does that make sense? Like I think
because the pads are off. Is that what you're saying? It's hard to really stand out.
Like there is less for the defensive line to do at this point of the offseason throughout OTAs and mini camps because there's no pads. You're not going full speed. When you're going 11 on 11, that includes the O-line and the D-line, they're not even wearing a helmet. Like, right? They're just basically lining up, giving a look, and firing off the ball, making contact and stopping. And that's what I'm calling their power walkthroughs with no helmets, right? So, like, the D-line they're doing, like, cardio and drills. Like, they're working on their, like, ability to be in shape and condition. And Jeffrey Simmons can go do that wherever he's got a patch of 20 yards of grass on a flat surface, right? Like you don't need stuff. You don't need yes. Do you need to work with chemistry with your teammates? Yeah. But D-line is not as much of a working as, 5 fingers as a fist type of thing as the offensive line.
More individual.
The offensive, yes, right. It's not completely, but the most individual type position in football is the defensive line. Besides like kickers and punters and
I could make an argument for cornerback, but I get your point. You're totally right.
Cornerback, you've got to rely on communication on the back end, on passing off and zone, and you got to cover somebody. So you can do stuff at cornerback by playing 7-on-7 and get value out of it, because you're not allowed to touch guys past 5-yard line anyway. So that's basically what 7-on-7 is with pads on, right? With the defensive line, like after that initial first 2 steps, like there's nothing there. So I'm not worried about Jeffrey Simmons whatsoever. T'Vondre Sweat, I am buying your conspiracy theory about them focusing on his conditioning. And now Brian Callahan said he had a thing that happened that if he's not perfect, why put him out there? I get all that. But I am not concerned about T'Vondre Sweat right now. If he starts to miss training camp time, then I become concerned with T'Vondre Sweat. So my answer to this question comes down between L'Jarius Sneed and Nicholas Petit-Frere. So I will tell you my answer. Which injury concerns you most for the Titans right now? I'm between Sneed and NPF. I'll give you my answer, more of your comments in the chat. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know where you can turn to. We're talking about injuries throughout the day. I went to my physical therapy appointment yesterday with the Bone and Joint Institute at their Brentwood location. I'm getting better. It is getting better. I'm trying to learn things about my body, how a knee injury is connected to my hip tightness, to my ankle, to my other, like my IT band tightness. I'm learning all these things that are connected, that one problem can actually create multiple. And that's what the Bone and Joint Institute's physical therapy is teaching me. Now I know where my weak spots are, where my body structure that I was born with is actually working against me at this point, and how I have to overcome that with other different exercises to work on those little bitty tiny stability muscles that we never think about. Eccentric movements, stability, core, everything that is involved with your stability and balance overall that can help calm down my knee tendonitis. And the Bone and Joint Institute is making me smarter and making me help myself with my overall body to get back to doing what I want to do, which is work out how I want to work out, do what I want to do around life, and get back to health and not feel that pain. So the Bone and Joint Institute is helping me do that. They can do that with you as well. Whenever that injury happens, book an appointment today at boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM.com, we talked about it earlier. It's an easy app to navigate for new users. If you're looking to download the BetMGM app, don't forget to plug in our bonus code A to Z Sports when you sign up to take advantage of up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Boosted odds specials like Austin said. He got 33% the other day. They've got live betting options, parlay selection features. They've got it all over at BetMGM, and it's such an easy app to navigate. Download BetMGM, use our bonus code A to Z Sports, and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. It's a great deal going on right now, and there's a ton of action this weekend. You got golf, baseball, all kinds of college baseball, all kinds of stuff, hockey, the NBA 3-0 series. That was surprising. I'm sure somebody lost some money on the Mavericks last night in here. But BetMGM.com, bonus code A to Z Sports, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualifications and eligible comments. First online real money wager. Only rewards issued and eligible bonus bets that expire in 7 days. And for a problem gamble support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So, Jack, I've eliminated Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat from my injury concerns at this point in the Titans offseason. It's between L'Jarius Sneed and Nicholas Petit-Frere. You picked Nicholas Petit-Frere. I'm more concerned about L'Jarius Sneed than Nicholas Petit-Frere because I don't think Nicholas Petit-Frere is very good. He played a lot of games as a rookie. That is a fact. You can't take that away from him. But I don't think he was that great as a rookie. I think he was just not nearly as bad as Dennis Daly was in the left tackle spot. He just wasn't as bad as some other things in the Titans offensive line there. So with L'Jarius Sneed, why am I more worried about him? Is because the Titans signed him to a massive contract after trading for him on the franchise tag. Like in Kane on spot says, why is Austin more worried about Sneed than the head coach? Crazy. He didn't do much in the offseason for KC for years. I know. And I've talked to Charles Goldman, who's our Chiefs guy for A to Z Sports.com, a lot about this. This is an issue. And L'Jarius Sneed can go up to the Titans media group when he has his intro press conferences. My knee's fine. But then when you don't practice at all through April, May, and June, your knee's not fine. Your knee is something that has to be managed. And Brian Callahan used the word management when talking about L'Jarius Sneed. So is my concern about L'Jarius Sneed's ability to play corner at a high level for the Titans in 2024? No, not really. But you guys, like the Titans signed him to like a 4-year, $70+ million contract, and the guy hasn't been able to practice yet. At some point, this knee is going to come back to bite you. And it's a long-term concern for me because I don't think NPF's a good player. Like, I think they should. I would love to see somebody else win that job over Nicholas Petit-Frere. So that's why I'm going with this. T'Vondre Sweat, not worried about him because I think it's get him in shape and let him go from there. Jeffrey Simmons, there's nothing to worry about with Big Jeff. Nothing. So I don't think NPF's a good player. I'm not worried about that. So I look at Sneed and say, you really need L'Jarius Sneed on this team because if you don't have L'Jarius Sneed on this team, you're starting cornerbacks opposite of Chidobe Awuzie right now is undrafted free agent rookie Gabe Jeudy-Lally.
Yeah, who you're high on, by the way. But obviously,
but I'm not high on him as a day one starter. Hell no, that'd be awful.
Yeah. Okay. So look, you kind of went in terms of impact because obviously the Titans have way more to lose if Sneed's not out there than they have to lose if NPF's not out there because you could probably find an NPF level right tackle after camp cuts, or maybe you've already got one on your roster that you don't know about. But L'Jarius Sneed is irreplaceable. That's the guy who's going to elevate the Titans defense and hopefully the top 10 in terms of defense next year, takeaways, all that stuff, pass defense. L'Jarius Sneed's going to help you get a whole lot better in that area. But here's the thing about L'Jarius Sneed. I understand, like Titans fans and Titans media, they want to see L'Jarius Sneed out there. They want to see their investment actually look like the contract that he was given, right? There's no shame in wanting that. There's nothing wrong with that. But even though he's had these lingering knee issues, he played in 16 games last year, played in 17 games the year before, played in 15 games in 2021. So he's not missing time. Whatever he's doing, even if it is managing, and even if it is a little frustrating, or even if it gives gives us a little doubt about how healthy his knee actually is, there's nothing over the last 3 seasons that lead me to believe that this is going to be an issue when the regular season begins. I think that he's had a management plan since the knee stuff started happening. He's comfortable with it. The Titans are obviously comfortable with it because they wouldn't have traded for him if they weren't. He had to pass the physical to get here. I saw that in the chat. Let's see who brought that up. So, I'm not as worried about Sneed's problem. I get it. It's a long-term thing.
Who fails physicals, right?
But I mean, but beyond that, like he hasn't missed any injury over the last 3 seasons. So I'm not super worried about it. And this is a guy whose usage rate is through the roof in KC because teams are throwing against Kansas City because they're down all the time. So the stress he's had out there on his knees has been different than the other cornerbacks across the league. Like Titans cornerbacks, I mean, they get thrown on in the first half, and then the Titans are down 21, and teams start running the ball against them. So L'Jarius Sneed's had a lot of pressure.
To guard Colby Parkinson in the fourth quarter of the Seahawks game.
Why'd you have to bring that up for 2 days in a row? But L'Jarius Sneed hasn't missed actual time in the NFL, and until he does, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'd love to see him out there in minicamp. That would only boost my confidence that much more. But until he misses time in the regular season, I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I just think, man, again, I think this question is more, my answer to this question is really more about how I feel about Nicholas Petit-Frere than how I feel about L'Jarius Sneed. Like, I do think it's never great if you have to manage a player from the very first day you signed him to a 4-year, $76 million contract. And if you it's just not a long-term idea is off to a start where it doesn't feel like it's going to be a long-term fix. If you out of the gates are having to manage this knee injury, like Nicholas Petit-Frere, is he the most experienced guy they had for right tackle going into the offseason? Yes. And he got 0 physical reps. Bill Callahan talked about how great he's been in the classroom, the film room, but you got to be able to apply that. I'm not worried about NPF's ability to break down film and learn things. He talked about since he was drafted here, they talk about how smart of a guy Nicholas Petit-Frere is, but that doesn't matter if he can't keep somebody in front of him and he's going to keep giving up sacks and miss blocks. So again, I think L'Jarius Sneed is the bigger long-term concern of all of these 4 guys, because I'm not a believer in NPF. Jeffrey Simmons is going to be fine, and T'Vondre Sweat is not worth freaking out about after what we both believe is a manage his conditioning and wait to make sure that he can be in the right spot for training camp.
Long-term, sure, but I mean, L'Jarius Sneed's 27. He's not even 27 and a half, really. Like this, and he's missed no games over the last 3 years due to injury. I think that I'll agree with you on long-term between these 4 players because the shoulder stuff you can come back from, right? Jeffrey Simmons, whatever he's doing, he's kind of become the new Derrick Henry. Oh, is it a big deal? He's not at minicamp. Hell no, it's not a big deal. But L'Jarius Sneed, the knee stuff, having to manage it early, I get it. That's something to keep an eye on. Definitely is, especially when you pay all that money to this dude and you trade what you did to get him. But until he misses games, until this is actually a problem in training camp, I'm not worried about him missing minicamp because, I mean, like the defensive line, like what does L'Jarius Sneed have to gain really in minicamp? Sure, reps in a new system. That's important. I get it. He's going to get plenty of that when training camp rolls around. If he starts to miss time consistently in training camp, then I'll start to come around to your side maybe. But I'm not going to worry about a Pro Bowl caliber play, an all pro caliber cornerback missing rookie minicamp. I think that he knows what his body needs. I think the Titans, were comfortable with this plan and maybe managing his injury situation a little bit before they signed him. So I don't think the Titans are surprised by him not being out there at minicamp. I think they're all in on this. And for that reason, it's not a big fear right now for me.
All right. And look, I'm not saying it's a big fear. I'm just saying for the
You're
four.
most concerned.
Yes, and like I think that's something that we have to like remember. Like Mr. Spurs on Twitter says none of them. They're taking their time to get right for the season, no rush. And Kane says Austin's fishing for show topics. And that's our job, is to create show topics, because that's what we do for a living, Kane.
But it's an important question. I mean,
right. And it's not like I'm not out here saying that I am like 9 out of 10. Okay, I'll do this. Out of 10, 1 through 10 concern level about L'Jarius Sneed not practicing at all, 10 being freaked the hell out, 1 being no concern at all. I'm probably a 6 out of 10 for L'Jarius Sneed. I'm probably a 5.5 out of 10 on NPF. I just don't think he's a very good player. If you want to go to Jeffrey Simmons, I'm a dead 1, because 0 is not within the 1 through 10 scale. And if you want to say T'Vondre Sweat, I think I'd say a 3, because weight is an issue, right? So that's where I'm at, like 6 out of 10. Like that's where I'm at with L'Jarius Sneed. It just happens to be the highest level of concern of these other 4 players. And so Kane's saying we're fishing for topics. It is June 13th. The offseason program is over. We're doing wrap-up things. These 4 players have a potential to all 4 be starters for this team. None of these 4 guys did anything in mandatory minicamp worth noting. And so we're checking the temperature of where everybody's at right now. So I'm at a 6 out of 10 for L'Jarius Sneed's knee situation. That's because high. It's going to have to be that's high.
That's high, I think.
It's barely over the fence of concern.
But it's more concern than not.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Because Jack, I'll say this. Like, again, I talked to Charles Goldman, second name drop for him as our Chiefs guy. Sam and I talked about this pre-free agency. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go after Sneed, right? You're having to give something up for a franchise tag trade and sign him to a big deal, and you've got a knee situation that seems to be chronic. And Sneed said his knee's fine. If his knee was fine, he would have practiced. His knee's not fine. It might be, it's going to be okay, but it's not fine, because if it was fine, he'd be out there. Right? Does that not make logic sense?
No, sure. I don't think his knee is perfect, but at the same time, like
it's not fine.
But if you have these chronic issues, what's the point in turning him up already out at minicamp? Why not save the knee a little bit, manage it properly, and then throw him out there when training camp rolls around? When he can actually improve, and when he'll have other people to go up against when the pads come on. That's what's important to me. I'm not worried about him not being out there for minicamp doing individual drills at 60% and stretching. Like that doesn't concern me. But you asked the question, 1 to 10, how concerned are you with L'Jarius Sneed missed minicamp? And we've got a bunch of different answers here. Darren's at a 5. American Top says 6. Eldon's at a 0. Troy and Katie both at 1. So is Maserati. We've got 3.5 from Maven Cole. 4 from Willie. 2 from Pistol Ramsey. Rooney's at an 8, so he's super concerned. Caleb Meadows is at a 3. And we've got a 3 for Sneed, 1 for Simmons, 8 for Sweat, 9 for NPF. Okay, really high. Okay, Denise is pretty worried about a few of these guys. Okay, so those are kind of the answers we have right now. I think that if I had to say, I think I'm with New Mexico Titan here. I'd be at a 3 for L'Jarius Sneed, because I just trust what he's put on paper. I trust it. I trust that he's played in all these games. I trust that the injury issues haven't kept him out. I trust that he has a management plan for this knee. And I trust the Titans and Rand Carthon that they would not go out and sign a player like L'Jarius Sneed to a 4-year deal if they weren't comfortable with his knee situation. You have way too much to lose, starting a new culture with Brian Callahan, hiring a new defensive coordinator, having your secondary being the major weakness on this team on the defensive side of the ball last season. You don't go out there and pay all this money and give up a pick to get a guy who may not be on the field in 2024. So I just trust the front office to make this decision. I trust L'Jarius Sneed and how he's managed it up to this point. And I trust the numbers. I trust the starts. I trust the consistency streak. He's not Cal Ripken, but he's not missing games out there. So that's why I'm at a 3 on the L'Jarius Sneed concern meter.
That's fine. And look, Tenny's out here saying like we're just doing dumbass stuff to make stuff up for the show. It's become random stuff. Like, dude, Timmy, chill out, bro. Like, we're talking about 4 significant names that have not been practicing at all who are dealing with injuries. I think it's pretty common for this to be a show topic. I think a lot of people are freaking the hell out about us talking about injuries. Like, why is it such a freak out that we're talking about injuries and asking who are you most concerned about? Like, that is a normal conversation to have, is it not? Like, am I taking crazy pills that this is a normal conversation?
No, it's a normal conversation, and I mean, you see the different answers in the chat. There's different opinions flying all around. So that's how you know it's a good question when people are just all over the spectrum here. But L'Jarius, look, he's a hot button topic, and Titans fans are going to defend him. Like, this is a guy that's brought in to change the defense, not just help the defense, but to totally change it. Okay, this isn't like getting Botox. This is like getting your entire nose done, right? You gotta have L'Jarius Sneed come in and produce in order for all of these moves to work. If L'Jarius Sneed is not out there, you have the same issues that you've been having, and there's some concern there. So Titans fans are going to defend them.
Is my concern. It was my concern the entire time about L'Jarius Sneed is the knee issue is a thing, and he tried to downplay it, and he's out there not practicing. Timmy says we knew this was a thing before the Titans got him and did the exact same thing as the Kansas City Chief. Yeah, I know, but like I don't necessarily like relying on guys that have chronic issues with injuries. Like, it's just, if it's a thing, it's going to continue to be a thing. And Major Key says I'm triggering people. I'm not trying to trigger people. I'm having a conversation about what injury the Titans have is most concerning to me. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's your opinion. So if you're more concerned than I am, that's what you, I mean, that's your truth. You got to give your answers. But to me, like, I get it. You want a cornerback with no injury history. You want players with no injury history. I mean, hell, John Robinson era, all he did was find players with injury history. And so Titans fans are a little scarred by it. And when you pay a guy big money like that, you need him to be on the field. It's part of the deal. So it's okay to be a little concerned about it, but I don't think you or anyone else really is pressing the panic button because Sneed missed mini camp yet.
Timmy. As Tennessee fans, we don't want to talk about injuries, bro. Timmy, that take is about as soft as Christian Fulton's hamstrings. Like, what are you doing, man?
Christian
like,
Fulton
you have to talk about injuries. It's a part of it. What's the problem? Grow up as an NFL fan. Grow up as a sports fan. If you are so soft that you can't talk about injuries, then that's on you, man. Because guess what? Injuries are going to happen, and you're going to have to keep talking about them. Because at some point, some key contributor to the Titans is going to get hurt, and you're going to have to talk about who's behind him. And right now, if you don't have L'Jarius Sneed, you have Gabe Jeudy-Lally. And look, has Gabe Jeudy-Lally done a good job as an undrafted free agent rookie corner? Yes. But I'm not trying to start Gabe Jeudy-Lally week 1 against the Chicago Bears. Are you kidding me? Like, I want to make sure that L'Jarius Sneed is going to be good for the long haul for the Tennessee Titans because they've invested in him for the long haul.
Jeudy-Lally versus Keenan Allen is not a matchup I'm interested in seeing week 1. Billy says, where did Christian Fulton sign? Los Angeles Chargers. And don't tell him, but the Chargers haven't won a Super Bowl yet either. That's an Instagram comment from earlier this offseason. All right, but I think what we can all agree on when it comes to L'Jarius Sneed's knee stuff, it's absolutely something to monitor. It's absolutely something to keep an eye on, whether you're totally concerned right now or you're not concerned at all. We all are keeping our eyes on L'Jarius Sneed's knee issue. It was a big deal coming in, missed minicamp. It's absolutely something to monitor. I think we can all agree on that.
All right. I also want to get to a comment that I saw earlier in the show that I favorited that I just think is something that needs to be addressed so we can not go down this path. Ken said that T'Vondre Sweat is giving him Panda vibes. I think this is just as irresponsible of a comment as Trevor Maddich saying he would cut Treylon Burks for how he was in one practice period. T'Vondre Sweat, like, do you remember how bad Isaiah Wilson actually was? Like, do you remember what Isaiah Wilson was doing about getting arrested multiple times, and there were teammates talking about him showing up to practice in the facility drunk from the night before and hungover. Like, so I do not think anybody needs to be compared to Isaiah Wilson until you know for a fact. So because Tavondre Sweat
After mini
has
camp
it,
too, to make that take.
it's like that is reckless. Like, so anybody that do not, and Ken says, hell, draft night was a disaster. Do not compare Tavondre Sweat to Isaiah Wilson. That is not fair to Tavondre Sweat.
Sweat wants to play football, and Sweat comes in, with more accomplishments at the college level than Isaiah Wilson did. I mean, hell, Sweat talked about how he wanted to FSU. That's why the Titans brought him in to FSU, and it's not Florida State University. All right,
It's
Sweat
not
wants
Free
to be
Shoes University, is it?
No, it's not Free Shoes University either. But like Tavondre Sweat absolutely is a football player. Isaiah Wilson never wanted to play football, had no interest. We got to remember just like how crazy it is to compare anybody to Isaiah Wilson. That's one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history we're talking about. We can't jump to that conclusion with Sweat after mini camp. I mean, we saw him out there for rookie OTAs. He's been out there. He's worked with the staff, and he's probably still been doing that behind closed doors. But to make that jump is like you said, it's irresponsible. And Tavondre Sweat definitely deserves a little bit better than that.
Yeah. There's a lot of misunderstanding with Tavondre Sweat. Now, look, I think what Zach said after the draft put it great. When Tavondre Sweat says if he was at 355 pounds, he'd be a Hall of Famer. Why aren't you? Right? Like, if that's what it takes for you to be a Hall of Famer, then why aren't you 355? That's a great question for Tavondre Sweat. But I also think, as Shrike says, you don't win the Outland Trophy as the best lineman in all of college football, offense or defense, and have the work ethic of Isaiah Wilson. Tavondre Sweat, the knock on him is he's not a 3-down player yet. Tavondre Sweat played the most snaps of any other Texas defensive lineman that included other first-round pick Byron Murphy, but he takes plays off, or he's not in shape enough. Tavondre Sweat played more snaps than all of the interior defensive linemen that came out of the draft this past season. Even Brandon Fisk, who went the pick right after him. So I just think Tavondre Sweat, because he's a big guy, gets hated on a lot. So don't compare him to Isaiah Wilson. That's just stupid. And that's uninformed. And that's spreading reckless nonsense. So that is what I feel like I got to stand up for guys when them having their character unfairly represented on social media.
And then you get called a fanboy. You're exactly right. It's a lose-lose situation. But like Tavondre Sweat, I'm totally with you. I don't think this is a big deal. And the Isaiah Wilson leap is just absolutely insane. But I mean, this just goes to show you, Titans fans, we all got these scars. We've all got these scars. They're not going away. And, the first sign of trouble, we start thinking, oh my gosh, is he going to be another one of these? Is he going to be another Isaiah Wilson? Is he going to be another Caleb Farley? Is he going to be another Treylon Burks? The scars are there. It's obvious.
Yeah, this show definitely showed me that, some people can't talk about injuries. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, Jack, let's go ahead and get to the magic bucket to end this nonsense of a Thursday show. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon. Say hey to Payne Bone Force while you're there at Wilson County Hyundai. Magic bucket time, Jack. We did my 3 things I would do if I were Rand Carthon for a day earlier in the week, which would be sign Justin Simmons, then extend DeAndre Hopkins' contract, and then bring in another edge rusher to split a starting job between Arden Key and Yannick Ngakoue. Those are my 3 moves. It's hard to make 3 moves in June, but I did it. All right. Is this for me or you first?
Let me lead off.
Okay. This is you leading off. All right, Jack. Pretty simple.
Hey, I like to hear that instead of you just snickering or laughing when you start reading and I have no idea what it is.
What's your favorite color and why?
You kidding me? It's blue, baby. It's always been blue. Two-tone blue. Might as well
No,
be.
that's 2 colors. What's your favorite color and why?
I've always liked blue. I don't know. Like, growing up, my cousin was my best friend, and he always liked red, and I always liked blue. I don't know. Like, it could have been
Little
from.
Bloods Crips thing
I
going
mean,
on with you and your cousin?
Austin. It dates all the way back to like Imagine Dragons. It dates back to the Teletubbies. I've always
The
liked blue.
Teletubbies.
Blue. I've always liked the blue Teletubby. I like the blue dragon on Imagine Dragon. Blue has been my color. You know, the powder blue at Ole Miss is the best color ever, by the way.
Which blue are we talking about?
I like the powder blue, the light blue. The light blue is the best.
Light blue.
Yeah.
So
No,
not
that's
like A to
Oilers
Z
blue.
royal blue, but like light blue.
Oilers blue. Yeah.
The Columbia blue.
Columbia blue.
Okay. Love you blue, as the Bud used to call it.
Yeah. Love you blue. Exactly.
Man, yeah. Tiffany says there's not a blue Teletubby.
Okay, there may not have been a blue Teletubby, but there was definitely like a dark blue, purple one.
I think there was. I never watched the Teletubbies like as a
Pull it
kid. I had like younger cousins or something that were watching it. But like, yeah, the Teletubbies.
There was a purple one, not a blue one.
Red, purple. I would guess
Wait.
yellow and green.
Well, I did say Imagine Dragons. What was that show? The Dragon Show.
I don't know.
Trace.
Imagine Dragons is definitely not a kid show.
No, Imagine Dragons is absolutely a band. What was that show? The Dragon Tales. It was Dragon Tales. Dragon Tales. You remember Dragon Tales?
I don't remember Dragon Tales.
The blue one was the main character.
There is because what are you, 28?
Yeah.
I'm 34. 6 years is a big difference in kids shows. So I have no idea what Dragon Tales is.
Oh yeah, I got into the whole Zaboomafoo argument. It took 10 minutes on a podcast episode with Austin Huff. This feels like it's a bad one. Some of these people in the chat are absolutely nuts. All right, let's go ahead. Come on, peel the Band-Aid off.
My stomach is churning. I guess for everybody that's hated my takes today, they're gonna get to laugh their ass off tomorrow when I have to eat a spoonful of mayonnaise.
Ew, nasty. Shout out Will Levis. There's a guy in the chat, by the way, Eldon English, who's for 2 years on Cinco de Mayo has put mayonnaise in his margaritas in solitude with Will Levis. So could be worse.
My stomach hurts, like actually.
What are you going to go? What's your brand?
David says no way. It says, there it is, spoonful of mayo.
Are we going Dukes, Hellman's, however you say it?
I have a small mayonnaise bottle, I guess, in my fridge for occasional condiment mixing, right? But
okay,
I don't even know what brand it is.
I've never bought Duke's mayo, but the flavors they come out with is crazy. I guess I should say are crazy.
Oh God. I just read Just Smash's comment and it made me almost throw up. Because he said if you throw up, you have to do it again. Like I read that and almost like had a gag reflex as I read that.
So you're gonna have to do that at the end of the show, right? Because I don't want you struggling and
and this is already getting at me. Like my throat is.
Oh, the chat's gonna have a field day. I'm actually, I hate to admit it, but I'm a little excited to watch this. Duke's mayo flavors.
I don't even know what's in my fridge, but that's what I have to do.
Get you some bacon and tomato flavored mayonnaise, some red cucumber dill, habanero garlic. All these flavors are absolutely nuts. I need to maybe get into that game. Duke's mayo lovers, chime in.
Top says no faking and put whipped cream instead of mayo. Oh, I mean, I will have the bottle and the spoon, and so you will see it being squeezed out of the bottle. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, I'm not just gonna get a spoonful of like Greek yogurt and be like, ah, look at this mayonnaise. I'm not gonna do that.
Well, everybody's got a little treat coming on Friday, except for you, I guess. But
and
that'll be a
Corey
reason to
says,
stick around
get the
tomorrow.
olive oil mayo. I think that's what I have, actually. I believe that's what it's something like, it's one of those like brands that's like made with olive oil. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds healthier. And so but yeah, I'm not excited about this.
I'm not. Oh, now I'm actually a little nervous too, because I'm a guy like if I see somebody gagging, then I'm gonna start. I feel like gags are contagious, just as contagious as yawns.
Who wants clam chowder?
Gross.
Okay. All right. Before my stomach churns anymore, that'll be it for us on the show tomorrow. I have to eat some mayonnaise, which may be payback for Timmy and Kane, who think I'm fishing for topics on the show. But Magic Bucket does the Magic Bucket wants to do. So make sure you hit that like button on the show. Like the show before you go. Titan Tonio says 250 combined likes on the show today, whether you're watching live or catching us later in the day. Hit that like button. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on a Friday. Appreciate it as always.
Tighten Up Podcast out now.